All right, I'm not sure how long I'm gonna play, um, but I am gonna do a little bit of my current FC 25 Youth Academy. Pretty much, I don't know if it's becoming a Youth Academy save. What? What's happening here? All right, so sometimes there are interesting errors that happen with the game when you leave it alone for a while, which I have done. So maybe he's gonna let me play the game now. Then can I jump back to sim? I mean, there's me, but they're not gonna kick off. Now this game does matter, but because it's broken, I'm just gonna hope I win. Oh, we lost. Well, that's what happens sometimes. Okay, but that's fine. We're in the Champions League. I am managing. I don't know how to pronounce this. I'm gonna say Iverdon. I'm gonna say that's hopefully close. In Switzerland, we are playing in the Swiss league just because I wanted to get out of Europe. Just seemed like I'd been in pretty much just in England. So I guess, in fairness, I guess what I mean is I wanted to get into Europe. Okay, so I don't believe we moved on. Um, yeah, so because England is the only place I'd really been running, and it's not just because I know the players and I know the names of the teams. A big reason for that is because Europe has 4 leagues in the game. So it's the deepest you can start a run, right? That's the absolute bottom of the bottom is the what? League 2, right? And that's not even the lowest division in England, but there are a lot of other countries that have more than the leagues that are in the game. Like Scotland has a second league, and it's not in the game. But the English league is the lowest you can start to do sort of a, I don't know, road to glory or whatever people call them. The full rebuild of a squad, taking a little team all the way up to the Champions League. You just can't do that in other countries. Um, so some of the appeal is lost for me. But I was getting tired of just, looking at Crawley Town and Huddersfield. So we're in Switzerland, and we have won the league several times. We have not progressed very far in the Champions League, but we are just starting to reach the point where some of my youth players are really starting to develop. So hopefully we will be looking solid going forward. Um, Usually I do this until I win the Champions League or until I win the Champions League really easily. That was a nice ball. Oh, what a save, though. Just to. Because then you start to get tired of it, right? It's like I don't want to rebuild the whole squad again. I don't want to sell every player that I have. And you only get 15 seasons, I think, as a manager before you sort of like artificially are retired. So you can only push it so far anyway. And then good defense there to hold the line. Um, it's all about power scaling, right? Every game knows about this. Everybody who plays any sort of like sports game or Borderlands, Diablo, looter shooters. Power scaling is like how does the game balance tough to play versus you feel really strong. Because if you feel too strong, I've experienced this with Saints Row. I never really played the Saints Row games, but I got one of them. I think Saints Row the Third. I think Saints Row the Third was on sale for like $5 or something. So I bought the Ultimate Edition. And you can enable cheats from the very beginning of the game. And you can enable God mode. You can enable all, the ability to fly. And it is fun. Like, it's fun to be able to do stuff without repercussions. You can just walk into a place and light it up. But why would you shoot that? But it becomes less fun. And I wasn't playing the game. Right? I wasn't really interested in completing the missions or following the story. I was just, I can fly around, so I'll fly around and look at the map. I will play with all the available weapons that the game gives you. I don't have to worry about ammo or anything. And so that's fun for a little while, but there's no challenge. And the challenge is important. Good games understand how to balance challenge with power, because you want to feel like you have gotten better and stronger, right? Look, this is, I don't know, freshman game design probably. This might be high school game design. This is not high level analysis that I'm doing here, but as you progress, you want to feel like your character is getting stronger and is getting better, even relative to stronger opponents, right? You want to be like, maybe I have really limited quantities of something, but I have a thing that makes me more powerful than my enemies, right? In Baldur's Gate 3, it's like having disintegration or something, right? You get it once, but it's hugely powerful, and you know that you can end a good many encounters if you decide to pull it out. But mostly you're willing to fight, tough it out, save it in case you need it. And then you get the challenge along with having that back pocket, game-winning card, right? But if you just get to use it every single turn, the game's not fun. And if you never get to use it, if you never become stronger, the game is also not fun, right? Even if the enemies never got stronger, it mostly isn't fun, right? Every game gives you got the starting weapon, you start with a crowbar or a knife, or a piece of wood, or your fists or a rock, and then maybe you find a sword, or you find a spear, or you find a longbow or a crossbow. Maybe you find a revolver, or a muzzle loader, or an old gun, right? Or you find a good gun, but you only find 6 bullets. And so you can't really use it even though you possess it. That's important to the game being fun. Man, we just cannot crack this nut here. A little wide. Sure, we'll swap right backs. That doesn't really matter. Anyway, all of that to say, that applies to this game, right? When you're building your youth squad, the fun of it is I keep losing. I keep getting smoked by teams, right? My defense is horrible. My guys are slow. My striker can't hit the target. But I know that the potential is there because I've seen what it says this player could be, and I know he's 17 or 18, so I can live with it. And we'll struggle, and we'll improve over the course of the season, and maybe we'll figure out, this guy is good at one thing. Maybe I didn't think he'd be a good winger, but he's a good winger, even though it says he's supposed to be a striker, or whatever, right? You figure these things out as you go through it, and that's rewarding. And then the next season, maybe you're in the same division, right? You're still in League 2 or whatever, but now your players are stronger, and you start winning games that you weren't winning last year, getting points from teams that were beating you 3 or 4-0 last year. That was a good ball. Is bullshit. I gotta be honest. The game still will screw you by like you have a team full of literal world class talent, like as good as the game will let you get. You know, Holland is like 93 or something. So you've got these players who are basically perfect. You have a full team of them, and you will still lose 3-1 to fucking Brentford, or something. It makes no sense. And that I actually kind of hate that aspect of it because it's not realistic. If I have the best team in the world and every player at every position is perfect, I shouldn't lose to anybody, right? And it doesn't, my goalkeeper shouldn't give up a shot. Like, so that I do find a little bit frustrating, and it does kind of, frankly, it ruins the immersion for me a little bit. Because, you should be keeping clean sheets like 9 out of 10 matches, and you don't. But, all that to say, a lot of the fun of the game goes away. You're just winning too easily. You've got too many good... Now, the problem is you've got too many good players, and they're getting mad because they're not playing. But you don't want to sell them because they're perfect. And if you're me, because you have them signed to a long-term contract, right? I always negotiate 5-year contracts if I can, because I do not want to. I find it very time-consuming and boring to go through all the contract stuff, to be quite honest. Okay, so we got him out the door. Anyway, 6 or 7 seasons is usually all I can take of a save before I start to get tired of it. And you can do it different ways. You can do a single country rebuild, which I have done. You can do a club rebuild. You can do all like small countries rebuild, which can be fun. Scouting like Fiji and Burkina Faso and all these smaller places. It can be fun. But really, once you win the Champions League, once you take a team and turn it into a juggernaut, you kind of got to move on. So I wax and wane with this game. But now I'm going to put on my podcast, since there's no reason to pontificate to myself. I already do that. Charming as I'm sure it is. Alright, I think I'm going to have... Okay, I don't have my youth reports yet. That's right, because every once in a while I'll get behind, like, I won't check them the day they are completed, and then they don't. That's another thing. I mean, I don't mind doing the management of stuff, right? I think that's fairly realistic. But it's frustrating because, like, I don't think that my scout would stop scouting players in, the 2 days after the report was due. But in this game, okay, we're 5 points back of first. That's fine. In this game, once they turn in their reports, they are done working. And so you just have scouts idle, which means you end up not having your scouting reports on the first of the month, which I don't know if that's important to anybody else, but I feel like that's the way I can get the most scouting reports, is get them on the first or the second of the month. That way I'm not wasting time. Can I get another coach? I haven't played in a while. I left the game running actually for like a week, which is bad practice. But I don't remember any of my stuff. Can I? Okay, all my coaches are good at tiki taka. Can I get any more? Probably not. Yeah, no more coaches. What are we good at here? Tiki taka, gegenpressing, wing play, and gegenpressing, and park the bus. Gegenpressing, wing play. Okay, so we can do any of those.